Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So a new product in the shop to review this week. We don't often at this time of year, Matt, to get new kind of shafts in the door.
Yeah.
We normally kind of get our mindset as to what our lineup looks like early season, kind of following the PGA show, and then from there we're kind of set, because there's always a period where you've got to get to know the product, you've got to learn the heads that it complements.
For sure.
There's that time where you've got to sort of know when and where to choose it.
Definitely. So we saw this kind of was introduced at the PGA show?
It was a kind of maybe just past prototype. We saw some graphics of it.
It was early on, yeah.
It was interesting. So Victor Afable, the founder of VA Shafts, is a, what do you call him? He's a veteran of the industry.
So he used to work for...
He worked for Fujikura. He worked for a few different companies. He was one of the original founders of Oban Shafts.
Right, Oban, yeah.
And he kind of, like a lot of people do, he kind of saw a vision of doing it his own way, and he went off and kind of started his own line. And obviously with the knowledge he's gained throughout the years, he has an extreme kind of wealth of knowledge in what works and a kind of complete lineup of shafts. So this one's a really interesting one. So this is called the Villain, and we'll obviously overlay some pictures of it, because the graphics on it are...
It's pretty cool, eh?
Really the first time I've seen a shaft like that.
Yeah.
Villain obviously, a reference to the sort of, more of a comic book.
It's kind of the vibe it has.
It really is, yeah. I mean, I know there was a sort of, it was a tribute to a couple of guys, and there was a kind of reason behind it. So, but we'll try and kind of stick to what we know best, which is about the profiles and the use and the benefits, and who's obviously it's going to be good for. So, little bit of a softer butt section.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
Higher torque.
Right.
And so it's closest in the line of VA shafts to the Slay.
Gotcha.
So if you've got, if we go through the kind of order, we've got Ryzen Black for the guy who we've done that, tested that one on the channel for. That's for the aggressive, heavy loader guy who likes to give it some. Then you've got sort of Drago and Ryzen, a bit more of a kind of mid to stiff kind of feeling and performance shaft. Then you go into what has been obviously Slay was the softest, but Villain actually sits in there just a little bit firmer than Slay.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Little bit firmer. Now that's the tip section. The butt section. This is where I'm going to try and kind of almost pick the player that I think this is good for. It's soft in the butt section, and it gets progressively stiffer as we go down. I think this shaft is for the guy who struggles to load it a little bit.
So somebody who is a little on the slower side?
A little bit in the slower, a kind of average tempo, not really cracking the whip. When we say cracking the whip, that generally is a reference to an aggressive transition between back and downswing, where sort of, if you can get that mental imagery of a Sergio Garcia where the body's going one way and the club's going the other, and you create an awful lot of energy through that sort of, separation, that X factor. So this is for the guy who maybe doesn't quite have that.
So it should be helping them get a little bit more kind of energy and speed through,
a little bit more kicking. And also, Matt, as we've talked about in the channel, a million times, the influence the shaft through the hands gives the player is that you're creating load. So you don't have to try to create it falsely through your swing.
Gotcha.
And trying to kind of almost do something that you don't do naturally. So the torque is a little bit higher than the one we're going to try today. It's about 3.9 degrees of torque, which is relatively high in today's age. I mean, we carry this shaft in all, so we see this as a really versatile profile. We've got a 65X for you to try.
Right.
We have a 45 sort of senior flex in the lineup as well, and we can have everything in between. So
basically, it's more they're suiting the tempo and swing style versus this is super stiff for only this type of player.
And this will be an interesting one, because I'm curious as to what you do with it as someone who sort of creates quite a lot of load.
Yeah.
You're not that Sergio Garcia swing, but you do sort of delay the transition with your arms, and you do create quite a lot
separation
of
for sure.
lag. You're one of those guys, you can see the bend of the shaft in transition. So I'm very curious as to what this sort of does for you. And then we've got a little bit of a plan at the back end of the episode to have a discussion about something else.
Okay.
So let's start with this though.
Sounds
okay.
good.
It's a lovely drive.
That's pretty
a
good.
great drive.
A villain. Chilling like a villain.
Villain indeed. Good. That's lovely.
It's better timed.
Towering.
I like that.
Towering
quite a bit.
draw.
Certainly not a shaft you feel you need to work hard with.
Okay. Did you give that some?
Tried to swing a little harder, yeah, just for fun.
I mean, and I think that's a good point, because someone who a lot of people would expect this particular type of shaft to be something you would not do well with if you gave it a quicker swing, and that was a bit of a leap there, and certainly in ball speed. Let's see, the club was 120, so we gave it a bit more still efficient.
Okay.
Interesting.
It doesn't feel like I sped up and all of a sudden the thing is wiping right on me.
Sure,
all of a
yeah,
sudden.
you got that head snapping closed.
Yeah.
How's that one?
I suspect it was quite good.
High kind of high middle.
I'm gonna guess middle of middle. Let's see.
Middle,
if I'm right.
middle.
Ooh,
that was a really nice
good,
flight.
Eh? Huh. I don't know if I can attribute this to what I'm working on with my swing or the shaft.
Right.
I really feel the shaft, or the club head, I should say, just everything getting just nicely in front of me at impact.
Interesting.
Being that it's kind of more flexible in the
Do you
butt.
feel like it's kind of almost
It's kind of giving me
catching up, so
maybe,
recovering.
Yeah. It's not what I expected. I expected to feel this,
Yeah.
like where it lags behind you, but it's not like that at all.
So, I mean, tell me a little bit more about sort of the timing aspect of it, Matty. Do you feel like it's making you wait? Do you feel like it's making you be more patient in transition?
I probably would have to get a little quick on one before I could give you full feedback on that, but you do feel it sort of flexing, I guess, in transition.
Yeah.
So I would imagine if you started getting like jerky with
Yeah.
it, you would feel an excess of that, and it would throw you off a bit.
Thinking to the driver fit that we recently done with myself, one of the shafts, the IZ shaft that I tried, I didn't feel anything in that, and I think I said at the time I felt it stiff.
Feel it.
I couldn't feel that sort of load, or I couldn't feel the weight, the mass.
So does that make you basically unaware of where the top of your backswing
Made
is?
me rush my transition, because I kind of didn't feel the club kind of almost still going that way as I was kind of coming down.
Huh.
As that you try and create that energy. Let's try a few more where you sort of give it a little extra feel in that move.
Okay.
See if we can get that speed up about 175 today. Oh, that sounded tomahawked.
That felt quite good. I don't know that I really hammered it, swing speed wise, but that was really well struck. Dude, that might have been a fade. Oh no, just straight.
Tell you what, you're hitting this quite well.
It's not bad.
All right, Matty. So initial impressions are good.
Yeah.
Quite good, quite stable. One of the things I really like about this is it's the price point's quite reasonable with it.
It's a little more competitive than some others.
It's going to think of being the US market somewhere around the kind of, I think around the 240, 250 range.
Right.
Somewhere around that. So
a reasonable upcharge that someone could do in a fit.
In today's day and age, I think that 250 price point is pretty decent value. Pair it up with the right head, and you can get yourself a real good driver.
For sure.
So even a lot of the OEM upgrades are starting to get a little bit above that.
In that, they're more expensive.
At times, yeah.
Really?
At times,
Okay.
some of the more exotic stuff anyway. But
Yeah.
but I think you're getting quite a lot of bang for your buck if you're the smooth player who's looking to get a little bit more pop from it.
I agree.
I think there'll be a lot of fans of the artwork.
It's very catchy.
And I think there'll be people that the artwork puts off as well. A lot of people, you might
like
get
anything, right? It's very subjective.
It will be. It will split the crowd. You might get the slightly sort of older demographic who go, yeah, it's a little bit loud for me in terms of the graphics. But the way you've got that set up there, actually the graphics are on the underneath. So you don't even see them in the playing position.
No.
So you see a silver tip section and a kind of black and with a little blue logo.
It's very simple at address.
Yeah, you don't see the sort of comic book theme on the back.
Yep, they hide it well.
Really well.
Yep, it's sharp.
Okay, so we're going to introduce the polar opposite to this shaft within the same line.
Right.
We're going to introduce reintroduce the Ryzen Black. We've been there before with it, but
yeah, we've done some tests.
The moral of the story here, guys, is that we're taking thanks, Bill. We're taking two 65-gram X-Flex shafts and basically trying to explain to you guys that you cannot simply accept it because it's the same weight and the same flex, that it's the same, it's going to have the same sort of, performance and give you the same results. These things may as well be a apple and a banana.
Yeah, exactly.
Chalk and cheese. Okay, so Ryzen Black in there now, Matty. We're just going to try and see if we can sort of establish what's going on that's different.
Right. Give us the Coles notes of what, like this is way stiffer, built for the kind of the fast swinger.
Yeah, built for the player that has a much more aggressive tempo. It's really a material story.
Okay.
The materials are sort of very high end in this one.
Yeah.
And that's generally how you create sort of stiffness. How you lay the graphite, and sort of they tend to do it in 45-degree sort of angles.
To weave it in?
So they'll sort of layer one at 45 and then they'll flip another one, another 45. So they're basically crisscrossing it for maximum stability. So there isn't any sort of influence of, if you get that shaft to rotate, that it's kind of all rotating one way. So you're creating maximum stability. Very cool. So material story with this. Okay.
Well, let's see how it flies. Sold.
Now, remind me, did you hit this well when we tried it previously?
I hit it
very far. One of the tests.
Hit it very far. I just kept striking it a bit on the low spin side.
Right.
But I wouldn't blame the shaft. That was probably just the way I was hitting it. That's a good start.
That flight there is, you could fall asleep to watching that, couldn't you?
It's the right one.
You could put a baby to sleep with that flight.
Ooh.
It has the long ball in it, this one, doesn't it?
It hasn't changed, has it?
It has the long ball. I think, this is a shaft for you, Matty, that, depending on what head that's got your attention at the time or what one we're really looking at, this is one you should always revisit because it does have some potential. I mean, it's quite interesting, isn't it? You take two shafts that are literally poles apart and they don't feel the same, do they? I mean, you can probably speak a little bit to that. And
much stiffer up here under your hands.
Much stiffer, much more stable. You don't feel that sort of looseness, but
no.
It's just they're both actually performing really well. Let's see a couple more with black.
And the flight isn't all that different, is it? When you make a similar
really
swing?
Not that different at all.
Pushed it a hair, that's
so just a hair, but it's coming back.
Yeah. No, I'd be happy with that.
What else can you sort of, explain about the feel of two shafts that have such extreme differences in profile? What else can you, can you feel weight? Can you feel sort of bend and energy?
I definitely don't feel weight difference, but there's something about this being so much stiffer. I actually feel like I have no idea if it'll translate to video, but I do feel like I'm giving it a little extra, I guess, push at the top.
Right.
Whereas the other one, maybe you just don't feel the need to because it's got more of a kick to it. I don't know if that's the purpose of it or not, but this has a little bit more, I guess, where it feels like it retains the shape of the shaft for longer.
The sort of interesting thing is you were actually quite a bit quicker with Villain, in terms of the swing speed, and that's, you know, we know the effect that deflection can have on that, you know, with the acceleration of the club. I mean, we talked a little bit about it earlier on today about sort of certain clubs when you're the guy who's trying to eliminate the hook. By eliminating rotation, you are limiting your ability to create speed.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. But you have to, because the rate of rotation being, you know, once it gets past the point of where you really want it, it's going to create a little bit of a hook.
So let me finish with a couple that I swing a little faster. I don't know why, but I feel the need to slow down with this one. I don't know what it is. That's a good swing. In fact, it seems to be actually quite a bit straighter when I go after it a bit more.
It might not be too extreme, Matty, in this sense, but there's a real distinct difference with this one doesn't cross the line. The other one had a draw pattern to it.
Yeah, so it will definitely keep it down the left side more, which is not unexpected, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, really until the last couple. I mean, if we look at that, we had one that drew and we have one that didn't as much.
Yeah.
That's probably, you know, back to the old sort of, you know, one that's a bit softer might draw a bit more than one that does. In that sense, it has actually worked that way.
And we've done tests where the opposite has happened.
We have.
So
we've seen your shaft. So, and then this is it. This is us just basically separating two extremely different profiles, and look what happens there.
Yeah, it's funny.
300 and then a yard of difference, but how it gets there is a little bit different. So,
very different.
You know, energy is a little less. Launch and spin is more effective for the high bomb through keeping the face a bit more open.
Yeah.
That's where you're getting the extra launch. When the face closes more, you get more energy. You get a lower launch. Blah de blah de blah.
I mean, it's funny to see the numbers kind of end up with a ball that went the same distance. Yeah. I think if I played golf on a long-term basis with one or the other, you'd probably notice a bigger difference, I think, in the way it performed over time. Yeah. I do think that if I woke up for an early round of golf, playing at 7 a.m. or something, and I'm kind of cold, and I go out and hit balls with this in the range, it's very different to sort of get this, because the last one, as I said to you, I felt like I swung harder and really started to fly nice. The ones where I was probably a bit more sluggish, I felt like that wasn't really matching them as quite as well. The Villain, I think, if you were just smoothing them out there, you felt like you were getting a lot out of it for the amount of effort I put in.
Interesting.
So, I mean, that's for whatever that's worth, right? But
yeah, I mean, it's like all these sorts of subtle influences are ultimately what's going to make you do things in character or out of character within your delivery.
Yeah,
worth trying, guys. If you have access to a VA sort of distributor or stockist, definitely go in and sort of try the new Villain and see if you're the type of player we've described, someone who has a bit of an average tempo, maybe isn't an aggressive loader, and you're looking to get a little bit more club head speed through acceleration. Get out and try that one. I think that could really kind of suit some of the heavier head weights that create a bit more acceleration. So I think that could be pretty good.
Awesome.
Excellent. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.